Do you know that Alexa is not only watching you when you are not using it, it's listening and broadcasting also. In April 2024, an investigation in California exposed something terrifying. Alexa devices, especially the Echo Show models, have hidden cameras that never really turn off. Even when the screen is black, even when you're not giving it commands, it's still capturing footage. And where do those recordings go? They go to external servers without your consent. And detailed images and videos of your home's interior, your daily life, your routines, and they're being shared with corporations, with agencies, with groups that analyze everything you do down to how long you stand in front of your fridge. You thought Alexa was just answering your questions, helping with your schedule, playing your favorite music. No, it's a silent observer, a recorder of everything. Your home, your most private space, isn't private anymore. And the worst part, no one ever asked for permission. No one was warned. The device you invited into your home may have turned it into a monitored space. So the real question is, do you really trust this thing sitting in your living room?
Is that a chemtrails?
No, Disney and Google bought the rights to the first King James Bible, and they're already changing it.
Did you see that Disney has gone back and added chemtrails to all their old movies? No bullshit.
Why would they do that?
So that children watching the movies don't realize there was clear skies, that they have chemtrails in the movies. They're going back and re-digitizing in to their old movies chemtrails because they were not there.
85-year-old diver became friends with a fish 30 years ago and still visits his friend nearly every day. Hiroyuki Arakawa was part of a scuba team that constructed an underwater Shinto shrine in the 90s. One day, he noticed a sheep's head wrasse with a badly injured mouth. Knowing that the fish probably wouldn't be able to feed herself because of the injury, he decided to help. And he cracked open shellfish for her with his hammer, feeding her 5 times a day for 10 days. The injury soon healed, and the fish was able to feed herself again, but she'd already strongly bonded with the man who had saved her. From then on, every day that he worked, she would come up to him and she'd follow him around whether or not he had food to offer. He started looking forward to seeing her too, naming her Yuriko. After the underwater shrine was built, Hiroyuki was entrusted to oversee it, so he continued to visit it and his new friend regularly. And 3 decades later, the story is still the same. Hiroyuki is around, he rings an underwater bell near the shrine to let her know that he's there, and then she swims up to join him for his dive. The relationship is deeply meaningful for Hiroyuki, who says he has an amazing sense of accomplishment in his heart when describing
this was chaos wrapped in blood and pride. One was a sharp-tongued king with sniper timing and nuclear left hand. Conor McGregor, the notorious. He talked like a prophet, strutted like royalty, and knocked people out like it was scripted. The other, a street-bred savage with scar tissue and Stockton in his veins, Nate Diaz, a fighter who bleeds, smirks, and swings in that order. He didn't care about the fame, the lights, the suits. He just wanted real fights and real money. McGregor was rising like a comet. 13-second knockout, 2 division dreams. Then Diaz steps in on 11 days' notice. No camp, no excuses, just a middle finger. Round 1. McGregor is slicing. Fast, sharp, surgical. Every shot a calculation, every step a setup. His left hand, a heat-seeking missile. His timing, almost unfair. He's not just fighting, he's painting violence in real time. You can see it in McGregor's eyes. Every drop of blood, every breath, it starts turning the tide. And somewhere between a slap and a left hook, this becomes more than a fight. It becomes warfare of the soul. The crowd losing their minds, the commentators screaming. One man is fading, the other is rising. And when that moment hits, that 1 second where ego meets exhaustion and technique meets instinct,
true story, which is the craziest thing. There's a famous painting that depicts this story, and it's the second most popular painting at the Louvre, right behind Mona Lisa. July 1816, a French naval ship is set out, and they have over 150 people. The captain of this ship was appointed, who has almost no experience whatsoever sailing, and he doesn't listen to anyone. And so while they're sailing, the seamen are looking at them and saying, hey, we shouldn't be going this way. We disregarded them completely. They get stuck on a sandbar. This ship sinks within 2 minutes.
Oh boy.
All the officers and the captain get onto the lifeboats. Then it is left up to everyone else, the 147 sailors, to build their own raft. And they put together a 66-foot raft before the whole thing sinks down. The officers and the captain, they were going to tow this raft to shore. But within minutes, the officers and the captain cut the rope. Madness ensues. Starvation starts taking people out. Waves are rushing and pulling people off the boat. And within days, they start to literally hallucinate. They're seeing angels. deal with ghosts. It gets to the point where they're so hungry and so thirsty, they start cannibalizing one another. And in 13 days, only 15 people survive.
Whoa.
Crazy, but they try to cover it up. But within 2 years, this guy created this painting. But when the painting came out, it caused a ton of ruckus within France. The guy at the front that's holding up the shirt, that was a man who survived, but he was a slave on the ship. And he was one of the main people to speak out and say, we shouldn't have slavery. And that's literally what the painting is. But it's huge. 16 by 23 feet. It's in the
What would happen if you gave society everything? Infinite food, no predators, total safety. Well, in 1968, we found out, and it was terrifying. Scientist John Calhoun built Universe 25. It was a mouse paradise. Unlimited water, food, nesting boxes. I mean, really, what else could a mouse ask for? It was designed to hold thousands of mice in luxury. At first, the population exploded. But as soon as Universe 25 started getting crowded, the mice went insane. A group of males completely stopped fighting and mating. They just ate, slept, and groomed their fur, which honestly doesn't sound so bad. Calhoun called them the beautiful ones. They were completely perfect, but socially unalive. Meanwhile, mothers started abandoning and also eating their babies. The society collapsed into violence and apathy. Even when the population dropped back down and there was plenty of space again, these survivors forgot how to even be mice, and they refused to mate again. The entire population went extinct, but not from starvation, but from total lack of social purpose.
For every 6 pounds of fat a person was losing on these drugs, they were losing 4 pounds of fat-free mass or lean mass. So 40% of the weight they were losing is coming from lean mass, like including muscle and bone. The only thing we hear about is social media influencers extolling the benefits. And hey, I'm on this weight loss drug and I've lost 50 pounds. Someone has to be the voice that says, yeah, but what about this? And there are some significant but whatabouts when it comes to these weight loss drugs. One of them is the loss of muscle mass or lean mass. You've mentioned a couple papers from the New England Journal of Medicine, a paper a couple years ago from what was called the Step 5
I'm calling it the excluded tools theory, okay? This is how it started in my brain. I thought, you know, a scientist could probably come up to me and convince me that they have really invented a time machine and that I'm allowed to try it out. And maybe other people tell me, yeah, we tried it, it's crazy. We went back to ancient Rome, we went back to ancient Egypt, it was amazing. So I get into the time machine, I believe the machine, I believe the scientists, and I get out and sure enough, I'm in ancient Rome, right? Or so I think. But all the tools that I could use to prove that this isn't actually ancient Rome are excluded from this simulation by its very nature, right? There's no GPS. I don't have access to a car. I can't drive to the edge of what could be a set to see that this is just a set. Maybe it's a set in the middle of the desert. I can't prove that. I don't have the tools. They have been excluded from this reality. So then think about present day, okay? I don't have the tools to get to the bottom of the ocean, to go to outer space. I just have to believe what people tell me is going on there because the tools have been excluded, or, you know, maybe they don't exist and maybe reality's real. That could be true. But what I'm realizing is there are so few things that I can prove, like with my own mind, body, and experience. The trust stack is basically the very bottom is the things that you know to be true, the things that you can sense, your eyes or ears, you know, you trust that you're conscious. And then right above that, we trust other people, we trust books, we trust media, but that's getting real shaky. I don't know, the stock market, you get on a Zoom call, you just trust that those are real people. But with AI getting so good and us realizing how easy it actually is to be fooled, it just has me thinking like we could be on that set, that ancient Rome set, because how are we going to get to the edge to ever figure out that it's not real? We really couldn't do it. That if you could fake any reality very easily by just excluding the tools that would be needed to prove that that reality is fake. Does that make sense?
Encounter of the first kind, that's when you see a UFO. The second kind is when you see evidence of it, crop circles, radiation. The third kind is when you make contact. But the fourth kind, there's nothing more frightening, you see. That one is when they abduct you.
This is Dr. Abigail Emily Tyler, a psychologist and hypnotherapist from Anchorage. At least she was at the time of these events.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
What's wrong?
To be more specific, this is a mixture of dramatization and the actual recordings made by Dr. Tyler herself. From the dates of October 1st through the 9th of the year 2000.
I don't have a choice.
It was completely surreal. Neither in the middle of the night.
This was the fate of the same man you saw in the previous clips. This is real police archived footage. He was not the only one who saw what he saw.
Everyone listen to me.
What Zombabo eater means?
What? Wait, I can't hear you talk. What?
Zombabo eater. Zombabo eater. Zombabo eater. What the hell does that mean?
It's a bottom eater.
What the hell does that mean? Right now!
Urban legends from every state. The legend of Charlie No Face, located in various parts of Pennsylvania. Here's the story. Also known as the Green Man, Charlie No Face was a real person. His name is Raymond Robinson, and he has quite a tragic tale. The legend was told as a man with no face would stalk people at night. The real story is when he was 8 years old, he was climbing up an electrical pole and got shocked, surviving but terribly burning his face and arms. He actually walked at night to avoid being ridiculed or scaring people. People were assholes. And as far as people calling him the Green Man, some say that it was just his clothes reflecting the lights off the cars. People who knew him said he was a hell of a nice guy, just a man forced into isolation by society.
You just watched Into the Fire, The Lost Daughter. You need to watch this documentary next. It's very similar. In 1987, 15-year-old Jennifer Pandos went missing from her own bedroom. Since parents is going to relentlessly attempt to get this case closed. This documentary is really good, and if you liked Into the Fire...
This slideshow has two images featuring the same woman by the name of Lynn May. The first one shows her young, stunning, and the second image shows her at an older age, and you'll notice that the age progression here is not very normal. This does not look like her at all. For context, Lynn May, or her real name Lilia Mayares, was a Mexican vedette, exotic dancer, and actor that was very popular back in the 70s and 80s. Lynn's face changed substantially throughout her career, and at one point she ended up taking the advice of a friend that told her that she should inject cooking oil and baby oil into her face. At first, things were going just fine, but eventually this very wild procedure caught up with her, caused abscesses in her face, and required her to get numerous plastic surgeries to fix it. And for those wondering, this is what Lynn looks like now in 2025.
This company that made this new butter, right?
Yes.
Better believe it's not butter because it's not. It's made out of gasoline.
It's using carbon. The company is working with restaurants, bakeries, and food suppliers to incorporate their carbon-made butter. So we're not even going to have a choice in the matter
I was gonna say,
whether we're going to be eating it or not. They're walking through where they're making the butter. There's this thing right here, this huge tub, and it's just
slop water.
It's called slop water.
And he's behind this company that's at birth control that you take it and you won't have babies for 8 years.
Like one, that can't be good for any type of insides.
No, it has to be terrible for you.
It's in Kenya and Nigeria are the two places that it's been approved for rollout. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is behind the rollout. It's for population expansion control, but it's like, dude, 8 years.
Yeah, you're talking about a potential 8-year minimum gap in population. That's huge.
They're talking about expanding into India. They want to limit in all of these places. It's an IUD hormone disruptor and progestin via the needle application. They're also pumping out all of these other self-administered needles. You're giving all of this out to a population who may or may not be well educated on what to do with all of that.
Well, especially if research is coming out now with birth control being a cancer-causing thing, you know?
It's complicated because it's like we're outstretching a hand to Africa and saying, like, women, you don't have to necessarily have a family if you don't want to. You can work and stuff like that. But it could also be complicated, and I would just hope that we're educating the women.
Yeah, Bill Gates.
And the thing is, he always made, women's
priorities first.
Yeah, 100%.
He's always made human health first
Yeah.
and, never profit.
No, it's like, listen, I want to make money here, but first I want to educate. That's a verbatim quote from Mr. Gates himself.
Money's good.
You ever seen a video
others
of an owl flying through bubbles of soap? Neither have I, until yesterday. But look at the geometry that it forms. You know, its wings going through the soap, and then the wind creating a spiral pattern. Well, that looks like a double torus. And the cool thing is, look at an owl's face. That also creates the geometry of a torus field. So this explains why, if you were to go to Bohemian Grove, up in the northern woods of California, then you would discover a bunch of weirdos making a sacrifice to a giant statue, of an owl. Why is that? Well, they're not literally worshiping an owl. It's symbolic of the electromagnetic torus field, which everything manifests from. If you watch Planet of the Apes, Maurice, he has a Freemasonic compass and square etched into his forehead, and the geometry of an orangutan's face literally is a torus field. So what they're doing in the occult is worshiping the material world. Metatron's cube, that shape right there, every single shape known to man can be drawn within that shape, Metatron's cube. So it is believed that everything manifests from Metatron's cube. It's the geometric prison that our limitless souls are trapped in order to experience reality in a limited fashion through the perception of linear time and space. But time isn't actually linear. We just perceive it that way, being trapped within the five senses.
I think there's going to be like a robot AI to rule the world from Jerusalem, an image of a man.
I agree with you on this.
Satan has always wanted to be like God.
All places, all at once.
And he wants to know what you're thinking.
Oh my God, bro! I thought about this.
Didn't God know what everybody was thinking in the time of Noah?
Yeah.
He saw the thoughts of the imaginations of the heart. Satan wants to know what you're thinking. That's what this little microchip's going to be about. And it goes in the forehead or in the hand. There's going to be a neural link, I suspect, where everybody is connected to a computer. They know what you're thinking. Satan wants to be like God. He told Eve, you can be like God. He said in Ezekiel 28 and Isaiah 14, I shall ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most
Atlantis,
High.
also
That's
known
his
as
goal.
Eden, and was known as the, quote, chief scientist among the gods. Satan, aka Enki or Saturn, was driven by a scientific curiosity and rivalry with his brother Jehovah, also known as Enlil or Zeus, and interbred with Adami women to create a royal half-god lineage, which included his son Cain. This enraged Jehovah, who overthrew Satan, seized Atlantis, and installed his son, Baal Moloch, aka Abel, as ruler. Satan's son and heir, Cain, refused to submit and was exiled. There was a brief period where Satan and Cain civilized other civilizations before the Edenic Wars began, where Satan fought Jehovah and Cain fought Abel for control of the Atlantean Empire. Abel was during the battles, and Satan was somehow incapacitated and imprisoned within the center of the earth, allowing Jehovah to assume control. After the flood, a sort of dimensional shift occurred, where the gods could no longer rule the earth directly, but remained hidden and could only be seen through veils. From this point on, they used their royal human-god hybrid descendants as conduits acting on their behalf, a practice that continues until this day. Follow me for more than all.
Look. Look, tignan mo. Grabe. Ano nangyari? Ayun o. Ayun na natin o. Ano yan? Ano yan? Grabe. Look. Bukal? Ipo ba? Ipo ba sa tubig?
This literally does not seem possible.
It continues to baffle me how people continue to eat from fast food restaurants over and over again after hearing all of the horror stories. A video just came across my FYP where a woman was talking about how McDonald's was allegedly selling human meat for 7 months without anyone knowing. The craziest part of this whole story is about how they found out that they were selling human meat. A worker came across somebody's wedding band inside of the meat, an engraved wedding band. The whole point of the story was they changed meat suppliers in hopes of increasing profits. The only problem was, after they found the ring, they contacted the police right away. The police did an investigation and found out that the meat distributor was connected to a local funeral home. So allegedly, their new supplier was getting their meat from a funeral home. You heard what I just said. Mixing meat with human meat. I did a video not too long ago discussing how many burgers McDonald's sells in a single day. Take a look at that number right there. It's staggering. 6.4 million burgers per day worldwide. The average is 75 burgers sold per second. So the questions continue to linger. Where is all of that meat coming from? So once again, keep this in the back of your mind. This is an alleged story that the McDonald's in Germany was selling human meat for over 7 months. So my question to you is, who do you think is at fault for what occurred, if it did occur? Is it the meat supplier for not telling the truth and cutting corners? Or is it the franchise because they didn't inspect the meat prior to cooking it?